said, how about we disappear? Let me just grab my things, let's get out of here. It's almost like she read my mind, not a step behind, it was super weird. I've been thinking about it all night, getting lost on a long drive, in and out by the river side by side, barefoot with the ends in mind. Fantasy comes to life, wanna wear pink all night. I've been hypnotized, she got me wrapped up in a spell tonight. Come on, just give me a taste, I need more. Your poison makes my mind lose control. Are we the same? How would you have known how to capture my eye and not let go? Hold on, I'll give you a taste, we'll go slow. My blood's what makes you close it, the floor. Are you to blame? Did I already know? If I gave you my heart, you would steal my soul. I said, how about we slow it down? We've been driving round town, you've been pointing out all the places that I ain't out. You know my every move, but I don't know you. Getting nervous, what did I get myself into? She's got a hold on me, things are ripping deep. I can barely breathe, I'm torn. You got a hold on me, my body's getting weak, but I'm losing blood in your warmth. Fantasy comes to life, wanna wear pink all night. I've been hypnotized, she's got me wrapped up in a hell tonight. Come on, just give me a taste, I need more. Your poison makes my mind lose control. Are we the same? How would you have known how to capture my eye and not let go? Hold on, I'll give you a taste, we'll go slow. My blood's what makes you close it, the floor. Are you to blame? Did I already know? If I gave you my heart, you would steal my soul. What a wake all night, I've been up all night, I've been up all night, yeah. What a wake all night, I've been up all night, I've been up all night. Come on, just give me a taste, I need more. Your poison makes my mind lose control. Are we the same? How would you have known how to capture my eye and not let go? Hold on, I'll give you a taste, we'll go slow. My blood's what makes you close it, the floor. Are you to blame? Did I already know? If I gave you my heart, you would steal my soul. Wanna wake all night, I've been up all night, I've been up all night, yeah. Wanna wake all night, I've been up all night.
Hi, good evening. Just got to be working a bit more on my game. Thanks for popping by, Samuel. Glad you're choosing me over the football. Brighton fan. No, not Brighton fan. The other team. Hi, Josh. I've got a bit more done since I was on last. I'll show where I'm up to. It's still just a sort of test level that I've got set up, as opposed to what's going to be the final one. But I've added these little glow effects around the player and the enemies just so they pop a bit more against the backgrounds. Done a bit of work on the lift shaft. There's like art for the lift now. The shafts have got some colours, a cable for the lift. Still no collision with the enemies. I've also, once I've collected these pipes, you can now switch the pump on. Just got a little particle effect going there, so that'll be the end of the level once you do that. I've done this little crab guy that's down here. Not 100% happy with it, but I think it'll have to do. I've done the art for these steps and just added a few more tiles in just to cover areas like where it goes to the surface and things like that. So I think the plan tonight, I'm going to just do a bit more pixel art, polishing stuff up, probably create oxygen cylinders, get this UI bar at the top looking a bit better, and just get some images, something drawn for the outside of the ship here. It's probably only got to be 64 pixels high, just like the corridor, and then that'll be the top of the play screen. You're from Yorkshire, brave man. Yeah, but I don't like any of the Yorkshire teams apart from Huddersfield. That's my hometown club, so I like them. But the pipes look great. Oh, cheers, Josh. It's come on really well. Amazing the growth of it. Yeah, I've put quite a bit of time into it. I've had a few breaks here and there, but we'll get on with the pixel art. Yeah, so this is like the glow for the crabs. The way I've been doing it, you can simply in Aseprite just choose a different colour, add an outline round things, so it's just makes it 1 pixel bigger all the way around, and then I've just pinned that behind the enemies and player sprites and given it the glow effect. Right, so how big was that oxygen tank I'd got? 16 by 16. Probably make that a bit bigger. We'll start with 32 by 32 and see where we go. What you been up today, Samuel, and some game dev? What colour shall we go with? Another 10-minute stream of me trying to choose a colour. We'll go with greys for now, because I'll probably give it a yellow glow or something around the edge to make it pop out. Is the sound and music okay tonight, level wise? Back on the racing game. It's looking really nice, that game. The AI you've got for the other races and stuff's really good. Something that I've never really done racing games. Did a one-button racer once for a one-button jam. But that's about as far as I've got with it. Got a rough idea in my head what I want this to look like, so give myself another pixel at the top there to yeah, I think that's roughly a reasonable shape for a little oxygen tank. I'll just save it as a PNG because I don't think I'm going to need any layers for this. Colours are important. Yeah, I should probably get in my mind though before I start streaming what colours I'm going to draw the first thing that I'm drawing, but I'm like it. I've always used this palette before, but it's always been for like space type games. I'm not liking it quite as much for this game. It's lacking in a few colours, it feels. But I couldn't say what's missing because most are there. Maybe sort of yellows and the oranges are all, and reds are all a bit browny. Right. Right, this has got going to be lots of sort of cylindrical bits, so let's try and not shade it like a square because Josh will pick me up on that again. It's lacking a few greys as well, to be honest, this palette. Actually, got to use these blues instead, I think. It's going to be one of these nights. It's just not going to go how I want because this already isn't looking like I'm imagining it. But we'll keep going. I've had one of those days today where I'm just being overly critical of what I'm doing and not getting a lot done because of that. Can you not customize the palettes? I can, but I like the constraints of sticking to a palette once I've chosen it. That's one of the things I like. It's probably cut from growing up with systems where you could only have 16 colours or 32 colours on screen. So I like constraining myself to the palette I choose. It'll come together eventually. The progress you've made on your game are looking good, Josh. A more uniform sort of this dithering effect should work alright, with it being like a solid object that I'm wanting to be quite smooth, unlike the pipes that I did yesterday. So cheers, dude. Making a dual state endless runner. You can either be running down a drive with a bed, or if the water catches up, transitions to a rafting game. 2 games in one. Match a bit of the shading from the underneath with the text colour. Yeah, definitely not my best piece of artwork ever, but move that down a little bit. I don't know why I'm manually drawing this round, because I could have just used the auto feature. Yeah, I'll send you a link, Samuel, when he's finished it, because it does look really cool. It's all in 3D and it's got this fancy water shader and procedurally generated riverbed. It does look really cool. Can't even draw in a straight line today. Shucks. Oh, no credit where it's due, Josh. Your art's always been amazing, but your coding's catching up quickly. I wish that I could create pixel art. It holds me back so much. Never been able to do it, but then I think I'd be like you and be making tons of Game Jam games, and my wife would leave me. We don't want that. To be honest, I spend a lot of time on it, but this Game Jam's probably the only one that I put like hours and hours into, with it being sort of a local group. The other ones, it's just a couple of hours here and there. I know the one that I did last year for this jam, 80s Kid, I literally spent 5 or 6 hours every evening on it, and the weekend, the 3 days in the weekend, pretty much all day and all night on it. So yeah, that's not too bad. We'll go with that one, I think. Right, let's import this into Construct. Right, I'm actually going to make it just a little bit bigger, so actually no, I'll leave it because I've got to do the glow effect now, so you can see how I've been doing that on things. I've got to give this a yellow glow, so we'll save it with a new name. It's a thing that I think Construct lacks to an extent. There isn't a really good system for making your own shaders, so you can make them, but it's not like node based or anything like Unity and things. So I tend to fake a lot of the stuff just with pixel art. So canvas size, make that a couple of pixels higher. Then we'll make this glow yellow. So we'll give it an outline. Quite a few options in here, the way that the outline's formed. You can just have top and bottom, left and right. You can have solid lines all the way around, or this one where it's just like a single width pixel line all the way around it. I'll just fill this in. And then we'll add this into Construct. So we'll make, if I've got this right, I've made it 1 pixel taller, 2 pixels taller, so if I put the image point down 1 on this, then that should, with the pixel grid snapping, make it line up perfectly around it. We'll give this some effects. I absolutely know life, my game jams. Mrs. hates it. Yeah, because I don't go all in on every game jam, it's not too bad. Although most nights I'm doing some game dev or making YouTube videos. So we'll give this a glow. Hey Peter, how are you doing? Richard's art is always so good. This O2 tank thing is looking sweet. Yeah, to begin with I had a few issues with it and I'm not 100% happy on it, but it's come out better than I thought it was going to. So how are their shaders created? I'm not 100% sure. I know you can make these effects. You've got all these sort of, these are the base ones that come with it, and people do make them, but I'm not 100% sure what they made in. I'll have a quick look because I'm pretty sure I've seen the files for these ones. Actually, I can't actually look in a file system because this isn't installed locally, so I'm not 100% sure how they do it. Just a quick Google on the website. You've got me thinking now as well. Yeah, they have a base zip file here that you create the stuff from. Looks like it may be JSON files. Yeah, this is the base file that they give you for creating them, so I presume it's just in this JSON file that everything gets created, which never really looked at making any myself. We've added the horizontal glow, as you can see there. It gives it this sort of glow on the side, and we'll add the vertical one as well. So now it's got a glow around it. Now we'll make these. I always forget which way they're meant to go. Is it? So is it that way? Nope, the other way. I keep doing these the wrong way. I never know which way it is with this new hierarchy thing. Construct's just recently started doing this hierarchy thing where you can like put things as childs. Before you had to either manually set the positions of things to others, or there was a pin behaviour that you could pin things, but now you can have as many sort of children as you want, and then they all sort of follow whatever you do with the parent. So I'll pop that over there. Possibly a little bit large, that, but save where I'm up to. Just have a quick look at what that looks like. Yeah, I'm not destroying the child, which I will need to add into the code. I had a look, it's OpenGL SL pure shader code. Oh, there's possibly another file in there, Josh, because there were some others. There's a .fx file as well. Will that be the shader code? I'm presuming. Yeah. Right, so when we collect that, we destroy the oxygen. We also want to work out how this new stuff works. So it's not that, it must be in this part here. So we'll pick the children, which are this glow, its own children, and then we will destroy that. But what we'll have to do is destroy that after we've done that, otherwise it won't have this to pick its children from because we'll have destroyed it. So I think that should work. I'll just move it up here so it's quick and simple to collect and check it works. No, it's not working. I've done this before in another game, but I can't remember how it worked with it being new. I suppose I could just do it by just destroying that on overlap as well for now, until I work out what I'm actually doing. Replace that with that. We've not got to give another 50 points, so, and replace that with that as well. Let me just check what the collision shape looked like on it. And we'll just bring those in 1 pixel to match the size of its parent, so they're both getting destroyed at the same time. And hopefully this will work. Otherwise I'm going to look like a right clown. Hi Comet Arts, you okay? How many days left? This is day 4, so halfway point, just over 12 o'clock Saturday, so 4.5 days, but obviously I'll be sleeping for the next probably half a day near enough, and then back to work tomorrow, so I won't have as much time to spend on it the rest of the week. There we go. They're both getting destroyed. It's not the neatest way. I'll have to have a look at why that wasn't working. But those that have joined, I've added a few more bits. Got a glow around the enemies. There's a crab going to be toddling on the bottom there now. And when we've put the pipes in the positions, I've got a water particle effect going there as well. And just added a few more bits of art like these steps and the lift shafts, the cable, and some art for the actual lift itself. Got the pipe art in the game on a tile map now as well. Right, next I think we'll have a look at getting this oxygen bar in the UI looking a bit better. So let me just check how we're setting that. We're just setting that to setting its width to the value in the oxygen bar, so that's 100. Just from the game, let's have a look how big that is. Yeah, I think that's probably a decent enough size for it, so we'll make a sort of an overlay for that bar, and then I'll add some code to change the colour from green when it's at 100, gets down to about 60, it'll go orange, and then red when it gets down to about 20-25. From what's seen, not long now till it's finished. I've got a lot of the mechanics in, but I've not really designed a level yet. This has just been thrown together to just test everything's working. So I'll probably start afresh on a new level, and then it's just got to be a lot of designing levels, maybe add a few more enemies in and things. But okay, so Rich, I'm busy on Discord for stuff. You'll probably see later all those water particles are so good. I'll probably see later. Oh, that sounds interesting. I'll keep an eye out. Is that on your own Discord to keep an eye out, or Xander's? I'm really impressed with what you're making. Did you make the animations for the character this time? Yeah, the character, it was originally a base animation that I used, just a placeholder, but then I've sort of drawn over it and just made slight amendments to it. But I've drawn the octopus, the crab and the shark, they're all from scratch. Right. So it's 100 in total for the bar. We'll have 16 either side, and then probably another 16, so we'll make it 148 wide and 32 high. Should work for what I'm doing. Xander's, right, I'll keep an eye out on there later. I know you said a few things on your stream I was watching earlier, but I wasn't sure what you were up to. Right, I'm going to make this display sort of mimic the oxygen tank a little. So we'll add a new layer. I'm just going to add 100 pixel long bar in for now, just so I've got an idea in comparison to the game where the actual health's got to be. How high is this? 16. So we'll just add this in on the bottom layer. Right, just open the oxygen tank so I've got the colours to just sample from. So I'll start with the outline. Get rid of that one now, we don't need that. Just checking that was 16. Move that layer on top for now just so I can keep it in view. I've actually got to see what the gradient looks like this time, like I tried yesterday for something else for the pipes and it didn't work, but it may work on this. Is that going to work? I did have an idea in my head, but it's sort of going a bit. Stick with it. Sort of what I'm wanting, but not exactly. Let's try the next level of dithering. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Should really learn how to use the tools that I use properly. That should now just do it in that. Green area. So I've done the bottom one the wrong way around. Right, we'll start again. Anyone that's watching new, this is how not to use Aseprite. Right. Right, so we've got the dark on the bottom this time. That's what I want. Now we've got that. That's what I want. That's what I wanted. Right, that's good. So we'll just add a border around the inside where it's going to be. Hoping I've got that right. Let's check. I'll just cut that middle bit out so it's transparent. So when we've got that on the screen, a bar will go up and down in there. I'm just going to make it a little bit wider and add O2 on the end here. Helps if I do it on the right layer. See if we can get away with that a little bit bigger. Yeah, we can. So just move this over slightly. Thinking, have I got room to fill this in with a colour? Right, we'll see what that looks like in the game. So we shall save that as a PNG. And then we'll get that imported into Construct on the UI layer. call it oxygen bar overlay. Set the origin to the top left. Just move that over there, and then we'll just manually position that. Zoom in and get this positioned right. So when it stretches from this left hand side and then grows to fill the bar. So 496 will be right for that. So let's have a look at that in game now. So we've got the bar, and then when we go underwater, that gradually decreases until it gets to 0. Now the letters aren't standing out at the moment, but it's quite a bright game. It's not going to have any sort of black areas, so that should be fine. If it doesn't work, stand out, I can always add a glow like I've added to the enemies or the player. Right, let's have a look at, see now we can, if we can set the colour of that bar to be different. We'll just do this every 0.1 seconds. It probably doesn't need to be updated every tick, which is like 60 times a second. We should be able to get away with it once every 10th of a second. So we'll start off with it green. Just check that that works. Yep, so that sets it to green. We'll just add some if conditions here so we know what to set it to. So we'll compare a variable, and it's going to be the oxygen level. If it's greater than or equal to say 60, we'll set it to green. If it's less than 60 and greater or equal to 30, we'll set it to a yellowy colour in a minute. And then if it's less than 30, we'll make it red, which is an easy one because that's 100 for red. Just need to have a look in Aseprite, see if I can work out what the value is for orange in RGB 100. I reckon it doesn't have an exact. I can't work out an exact figure, but I reckon 150, 30. We'll try that. So we've got green at the beginning. Starts going down. Gets to 60, changes to orange. Then changes to red as we get lower. So we've got a functioning oxygen bar. I think next we'll add just some hearts for the player's lives. We've got probably 3 lives for the player. So we'll add another global variable. Call that player lives. Try to keep everything neat and commented in this project, because I plan on making all the source code and art available on itch for this at some point after the jam, so we'll try and have it all commented nicely so people can follow it and understand it, reuse it for whatever they want. So we'll just add something into start layout just to set the player lives. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to have different levels, so I'm going to reuse this event game script in all the levels. So what I'll do when I get a menu set up, I'll set the lives when the player presses play initially. And then the lives only get set to the full amount once the game starts. Otherwise, every time they restart on the next level, this start layout will run, and it'll mean that they get a boost to full lives at the start of each level. Right, so let's go back to a sprite in a second. So I'll probably do, thinking that's 32, I'll probably do the hearts 32 by 32, and we'll just have 3 hearts over this left hand side of the screen, 1 for each of the players' lives. This is where I wish I had my display tablet hooked up to this computer, because it's a lot easier to draw freehand with a pencil than it is with a mouse, but that's not too bad actually. Have you tried Construct on an ultra wide monitor? It's so good. I have every event pages on one side and layouts on the other. No, I've not got an ultra wide monitor. I've got just two screens, which I think, can you detach the windows in Construct now? I don't think you can you, it being in a browser? But yeah, I don't think you can, but it'd be good if you could like detach part of it and split Construct up, but I suppose with it being in a browser we can't do that. But no, I can imagine it is good, that, because I know when I'm like coding for Godot, I don't use the built-in code editor in Godot. I have Visual Studio Code on one screen with all the code, and then do all the scene stuff on the other screen in Godot itself. No, I didn't think you could, but something in my mind thought you could then for a split second, but then can't detach, that's why you got a wide screen. Is it just Construct that you use then, Samuel? Actually, not that keen on those. Try it with a pixel perfect setting. Dual screen's my new religion, honestly. Not use it with Construct, but it's so good. Yeah, I love having more than one screen. I tend to use... I've got a display tablet on my other computer, so I have two screens and the display tablet, so having three, it's like a three screen setup really with that, so it's just amazing. Just try to draw a heart here that I like, but just keep drawing straight lines. Who would have thought drawing a heart was so difficult? I actually like the one I did originally, which I should have stuck with. Yeah, just Construct, too old to learn Godot or anything with code now. I've coded for years, but for some reason I'm really slow, so C3 is a godsend. Too old. How old are you, Samuel? Surely you... I feel I'm quite old compared to most of the game devs about. I'm 47. Neil said 46, but it was my birthday the other week. But right, I think we're going to stick with that. Just move that over slightly. $44. Oh, you're not that old then, you're young. How long have you been using Construct? Oh dear, that doesn't look right. This is C3 on ultra wide. Did you put a link in there, Samuel? Because I don't think it shows up on YouTube when anybody puts links in. But if you want to send me a screenshot, if that's what you'd put in, then feel free to. Right, we're going with that. Yeah, it was a screenshot. Yeah, I don't think there's any settings where I can change that. I just think it's a thing that they don't allow posting of links in any of the chats unless I post it. I know in Twitch you can set the preferences. Let's give this an outline. So Samuel, you'll have grown up with the same sort of computers and consoles as I did, sort of Spectrums and Amigas and things like that. Sent a message in Discord. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, that looks nice. Oh, where's it gone? Yeah, that looks really good. Guess what's on my Christmas list this year? I wanted a new graphics card, but you just can't get hold of them. Yeah, Oric 1, C64, then Amiga, then nothing for a few years till PS1, etc. and every console since. That's pretty much like me. I had a Atari 2600, then I had a Spectrum. A Spectrum Plus was my first Spectrum, then a Spectrum Plus 2, then the Amiga, and then I missed out like all the Mega Drive, SNES, and PS1 was the next sort of console I had. And then I've had all the PlayStations up to 4 since then. Not got a 5 yet, but I'm sure I'll get one at some point. I won't bother with that bit there, that looks silly. Yeah, I think that'll be okay for the lives. Very similar experience, nothing new, has captured the fun of early games for years, maybe since the GameCube era. I think it's just age. Yeah, it's all... I like a lot of the indie games, but a lot of stuff, the new stuff, it's just not got the excitement. It's just more of the same. It's just a bit better graphics, plod through this game. Your hand's held sort of the whole way through most games these days, I feel. This last week I've started learning 6502 assembly language with a view to making a game for the Atari 2600. So that's another project that I've started. So we'll add this sprite for the lives. We'll make it... I made the hearts 32 by 32. I'm going to make it so you can have 3 across and they'll all be set. The frame numbers will be set depending on the live number. So it's 96 they'll be taking up, and we'll add 8 between them, so 114 wide, 32 high. The origin in the top left. So that'll be 0 lives. Just thought I'd probably have to copy it, it loads the actual size in, doesn't it? Gone a bit funny as construct there, it's not letting me paste in. See what's going on here. I've had this before where it won't cut and paste in from Sprite. Let me just load another art package and see if that works. How strange it's not letting me paste in from other art packages. Normally does work that. Right, so what size did we have it? I'll just do it all in Sprite and then load them in. 114 by 32. 114 by 32. Load those in. I'll just overwrite that other one. And back to construct. 0 for 0. It's been going really strange with construct. I've selected the thing there and it's drawing. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to restart construct because for some reason it's not playing nicely. Yeah, it's working again now. I bet it'll even let me cut and paste in there now. Strange. Set the initial frame to freeze so I can see them. Right, let's set the code up so that it displays them. So we'll just set the frame. We'll do it every 0.1 seconds again because it doesn't need doing 60 times a second. And we'll set the frame to the player lives global variable. So whatever we set that as, it should then change the UI. Let's just check that works. Go into debug mode and find the global variables. So 1 life, we've got 1, 2 lives, 2, and 3, 3. So not totally happy with those hearts, but they'll be okay for now. It's a game jam after all. We're not after perfection. Right, so next I think I'll work on some tiles to just create sort of a rough outdoor ship scene. So we'll open the tile map. Is that the latest one? Yep, that one looks to be the latest one. So Right, so we'll... I think we've just got to make it a very basic outside of the ship. So I'll just... We'll copy the portals, we'll have those on it. I suppose I could even just use that tile, because even with that shading on the top it's not going to cause any major issues, I don't think. No, I'll just duplicate this and remove it. So we'll have a tile there that looks like that. So it's probably got to be a case of having that in the top half. So I'll just sort of mock it up as if it's how it's going to display in the game. So it'll just be probably a white panel, portal. There'll be nothing above. This has got to be the total height, sort of 64 pixels. Maybe draw a little door. Just one of these sort of metal doors that they have on ships. Normally have a curve on the top, so if we draw that like that, maybe not quite that much. I think that's how they are anyway. Flip that vertically. If you're still there, Samuel, how long is it till you're planning on being till you release the racing game fully? Hey Rich, I'm heading off to sleep. Keep it up. I'm loving the game so far. Cheers, Peter. Have you posted what you were talking about earlier? Is that in the Discord now, or is that going to be another day? Yep, still a racing game. I've made a vow to myself to make it have lots of features. I want it to be a commercial quality game in terms of features and gameplay. So has it just got to be a case of it's done when it's done? Because that's what I've sort of decided with Ghost Blaster now. I keep setting myself deadlines and then it sort of puts pressure on me, and it's not as if it's my job, it's only a hobby, so I've decided it's going to be, when it's done, it's done. I'd love for it to do really well on the Android store, etc. Not bothered about money, but I want people to think of it as one of the best top-down racers. Big dreams, but there's no rush. No, I'm exactly the same. When I first started doing this, I always hoped it could be my main job, but I've got a job as I'm a software engineer now, and I'm more than happy doing that. So I just do this game dev stuff as a hobby now. So it'd be lovely if it was full time, but I don't think there's any chance of that ever. So, but you've got to be extremely lucky to get that. Same for me, hobby, not my job in marketing, real life. What do you do? Yeah, so it's mainly web development. I've only done that for just about 3 years now. I went back to university in my early 40s and got a computing degree, so it was quite a change in career for me. So, but I'm more than happy doing that now. So, was sort of starting the game dev that gave me that push to go back to uni though, to get the degree, because I decided I wanted to work with computers and computing. I think now I probably just need a couple of end pieces with some dark outlines on, and then I should be able to make a small sort of ship scene on the deck with these pieces. Hi Ian, how are you doing? Thanks for popping by. Graphics are looking good. Thanks very much. Yeah, we've got... This is sort of a rough scene I've mocked up at the moment. I'm just doing some tiles just to make a bit of a ship deck level up here. But we've got an octopus, a crab, there's a shark swimming around somewhere. An oxygen cylinder there to collect. A bar that depletes up here with your oxygen. And you can collect pipes and put them in a position, even though these aren't where they're going to go. And then you go over to the pump and switch it on, and then you'll drain the ship of all the water. So that's what we've got at the moment. I'm just trying to get all the mechanics in place, and then I'll design a level from there. But the designing the levels the bit I don't like, so right. So I'll just create a piece like that. And then we'll just duplicate that. Flip that horizontally. Right, I think that should be enough for me to create what I'm wanting to. So I'll just save that as a PNG. And then we'll unlock the background tile map and just load that updated tile map in. Let's see if I can create what I'm wanting with that. The top of the screen's going to be after 2 of these blocks, so I just need something fill these in. Not a very creative sort of thing, it's just got a few separate tiles, but I think it'll be enough. And we'll add another door in at this end. And then the tile just finishes that end off. And there, that looks pretty much like a boat to me, so I think that'll be fine for that. Let's lock that off again. So I've made quite a bit of progress there. That looks great. Love the animation, the octopus. Yeah, I really like the octopus. And I've done this crab and I spent hours on that this afternoon and I just couldn't get it looking like I wanted it to. I think because I got the octopus looking so good and the shark's animation's pretty good too. I'm still not happy with the crab, but once it's in the game it doesn't look too bad. Sort of giving all the enemies a red glow, so you know to avoid things with red glows, and sort of a yellow glow around the oxygen so that you know what you're meant to collect. But I think that's all I can do with that for now. So what else can I be working on? I think probably the collecting the pipes and putting them into the positions they need to be in is probably what needs doing next. Did you have these? Yep. Deciding whether to keep these as one object or whether to have completely separate objects in the game. Because I've got my hand making the levels, I'll just keep them all because I can set them to what frame they're meant to be manually. So we'll load a pipe shape in here. Have I got them separate? No, I've not. So let's see if cutting and pasting's now working in Construct. Because the aim of the game, I'm not sure whether you know, Ian, where's Construct gone? The level's already got to be flooded. I know the themes, the water levels are rising, but they've already risen. The boat's flooded, and it's a case of there's got to be certain pipes that are missing. That'll just be a silhouette there, so you'll know that they need replacing. And you've got to swim around, avoiding the enemies, and keeping your oxygen level up. Collect the pipes, pop them in the correct place, and then go set your pump going. That's basically the simple premise of the game. I think it's mainly just got to be horizontal pieces and some of these types that I'll have us replacing in the game. Just because it's mainly got to be the ones between floors and possibly these vertical ones that enlarge the canvas to fit that. And then we'll cut and paste a vertical one in as well. I'll just duplicate that and get rid of that one. I did have them being set by the ID number that I give them as to which frame it was, because I've got the places where you deposit them and the pipes connected by matching ID numbers. So ID 1 pipe can only be put in the position that accepts ID 1. Right, I need to make outlines for these pipes now. So I'll just duplicate these. I'll add them down on the bottom bit of this tile map. How's your game coming on, Ian? It's quicker just doing it this way than flood filling bits like I was doing. Right, so I can now paint on the tile map. Positions, no, actually they'll need to be separate objects, not on the tile map at all. So I'll just go and paste that. Back to construct. And we'll change these positions. Which order did I have them in? Horizontal and then vertical. Duplicate that, get rid of that one. Duplicate that to get the correct size. I'll just erase those lines and we'll cut paste the other pipe in. So we now have matching pieces that you'll have to then go put on the different shapes. I think what I'm going to do as well, with me setting them all by ID to match, I think I'll put a number on each so that you know which to put, because there's probably going to be more than one of this type of pipe. Or I may end up doing it so that as long as the shapes match, it's fine. That's something I'll probably think about over the coming days, but for now I'll just leave it, get these two sort of in position. So you'll know there you need to put an empty pipe. I think I'll probably fill those in so they stand out against the background. Sample one of the colours from the palette that I'm using. I think just a flat grey will probably be fine, which is should make them stand out more. So that's got an ID of 1, that one's got an ID of 2, that one ID of 1. Just swap them round just so in my head I remember which is which. One's first. If I change the initial frame, does it change on them both? Nope, it only changes on the individual one, so that's good. I probably will change it so in the code the animation frame it gives it is based on this ID in the instance variable. So those match. I'm going to have to make this collision, this bigger sprite and the collision area bigger so that players can either pop the pipe in from the top or the bottom. It's not going to matter. So that's currently 632 high, so we'll go with 96 and we'll just align that in the center. So I can now add a collision area a lot bigger. So that's collision area, so the player will be able to swim below, above, and then press the control button. Or I may have it still to be decided when I play it, but at the minute it's pressing the control key when you're in this collision area will cause the pipe to be spawned and placed in there. But I may do it so that it just automatically does it when the player swims through if they're carrying a pipe. All these things I need to sort of work out when I start play testing it. So the image point on this, I'm going to leave that in the center there because when I spawn, click this pipe onto it, I want it to connect on that image point there, with these only being smaller than these, if that makes sense. So I'll just move these down here for now, and we'll just check. It should hopefully just work out of the box this, but with what I've done before, but we'll check. Pick that up, swim over here. Right, so that isn't working, is it this one? Why is that not working? Where was my logic? Can't even remember where I put it. That's the water pump. It was up here, I think. I had it hidden. So when it's overlapping the pipe, picks it up, drop pipe, Were we able to even just drop the pipe when we were playing? Right, no, that stopped working totally. So it's something in here that I've broken. Let's debug it and see what's going on. So we're overlapping a pipe and the player's pipe ID isn't equal 0. That's pipe, incorrect position. It's only about 2 days since I wrote this logic and I can't remember what on earth I was doing. So let's go down here. So currently the player pipe ID 0 and the pipes and that pipe incorrect position, it's not, it's an ID of 1. So let's swim and pick that up. So it's destroyed that pipe now, which is what we want, and the player should now be saying that it's carrying a pipe of ID 1. So let's have a look at my next bit of logic. So just to randomly drop the pipe, set action complete to true. Is action complete? Have you used the mesh system yet in C3, Rich? It's pretty good, probably no use in this game, but if you find the right thing to use it on, it works really well. I've not used it in anything. I did have a play around with it when they announced it the other week. It does look really good. I think, like I say, it's just finding the right thing to use it for. I've seen quite a cool demo someone had put on Itch. I can't remember who it was, but they'd like done a wave using it. So the wave sort of rolled along the screen. And it was just using the mesh and some, I think, the sign behaviour to do it. It looked really cool. So we're not overlapping the pipe position. Player's pipe ID doesn't equal 0. So when we press Control, it should now spawn a pipe at the player's image point 1. Set the ID to the player, the ID that the player's got, and then set the player's back to 0, and then set that to true. I just use this set action to complete at the beginning, so it only does one of these. Once it's done one, it doesn't do any of the others. I've just worked out what it's doing. It is working. It's just doing them on a layer 0. When I wrote this code, I only had one layer in the game. So I think if I do it on the pipe layer, it should all be good. I was wondering why it wasn't working, because I'd not changed anything in the code. I'd only changed the art. Yeah. So I can pick up and drop the pipes, and hopefully there's something going funny there. Or is it because I'm not over the right pipe? Well, my pipe's going. Right, for some reason that bit's not working. Have you used the mesh thing for anything yet, Samuel? The other thing that they added to Construct that I really like, but I've never used as well, is the Z elevation stuff. I used it I used it very briefly in a Jam game a few years back to create like a telescope, which sort of gave the effect of looking down it by having things, a few circles set on different Z elevations. But I'd love to try and make a game like Space Harrier or something like that using it. So I know there's a demo on the Construct site on the in here that looks really cool with it. Is it in templates? This one, don't know whether you've looked at this. But it looks really cool. I'd love to make something like this. It just looks really good. I thought maybe, like say, something like Space Harrier or something like that could make using this type of thing. But better not start another project at the moment. I used it mesh to make the platforms in my Run a Random release. Oh yeah, of course you did. Yeah. Yeah, they look really good them. Just being the silhouette as well, it worked really well for that. Hi Pro Man, you alright? Yeah, I've seen that demo. Yeah, I really like that demo. I want to make a 3D game like this, something like Space Harrier Afterburner, yeah. Yeah, I love those. And what was it on the Spectrum? Thunderblade. That was another one that used a similar thing where you were flying a helicopter. It might have even been the Amiga. I had that on a... what were we doing? We were looking at why I couldn't drop a pipe, weren't we? Pro Man, we're working on a Game Jam entry that I'm doing. It's for Game Jam 192, and the theme's the water levels are rising. So you're on a flooded ship, and you've got to pop these pipes in the positions where they're missing, and then after that you go switch this pump on, and then the water drains away, and then that's the level complete. I'm using Construct 3. And I'm working on my own on this. Yeah, Thunderblade, it was on 8 bits, but it was awful. Yeah, it was awful, but I remember getting it one Christmas, and that's the only game I got that Christmas. So I played it an awful lot, probably a lot more than the game deserved. I don't understand why this logic isn't working. Let's go and debug it again. So let's go down and collect the pipe. So we've got a pipe. So where's my player? Here's the player. He's got a pipe with the ID of 1. These pipe positions, we've got to try and pop it in this one. And that's got an ID of 1 and pipe in position of false. So, system... action not complete, so yeah, that will be right. Tell you what, I'm going to put breakpoint in here. I always forget about them. But I can't set a breakpoint there. I do find that with Construct's breakpoint system that a lot of the time where you actually want to pop a breakpoint, it doesn't allow you to. So let's swim over here. I am wondering if it is actually spawning it still and it's going behind it or something. Press Control. It's just dropping it. So we're checking if the player body's overlapping the pipe position. I wonder if I'm just not making... I wonder if it just needs to be made bigger, this collision area. 'Cause it takes up the full area. I know what it is. I only changed it on the first frame, didn't I? I didn't change it on these other two. Right, let's have another go now and that hopefully will work. It's always the simple stuff, I hope. No, it's still not working. Let's debug it again. Maybe it is what I thought first of all, and it's... So we've got a pipe. There's 2 pipe positions, 1 pipe at the moment, so that pipe number should go up. Yeah, so it is creating it because we've got another pipe there now. Must just be on the wrong layer. Tell you what, I'm going to spawn it on the enemy layer because that's... What layer have I put that? I've put that on the enemy layer. I'll see if that works with those now on the correct layer. Never use breakpoints. I probably should use them but never get round to it. Yeah, they are useful because obviously it stops it and you can have a look at all the values in the debugger and see where things are going wrong, but often where you want to place them, like there, it doesn't let you. Yeah, so it was working pretty much all along, just me being stupid. Right, I need to fix that so it spawns the correct shape. Let's have a quick look at that logic, see if we can get that fixed. Right, pipe. If I set the frame to self ID, which I can do straight after we've set it from the player. And I'd actually already done that up there, so why didn't I do it down here? Set ID. Right, I think that should work anyway. Let's check. No, it's still not done it. I'm making hard work of this tonight. I don't know what's going on. Right, I'm never actually setting it. That's resetting it on the player. So we'll get the pipe. Set value ID to player body dot. What did I call it? Pipe ID. And if I do that there. Right, hopefully that will work. Success. Right, so we've got that working. They're both in position now, so that should mean that this pump up here can be activated and used. Cool. I think I've pretty much got all the mechanics now in place to get a basic game working. Can collect that. That didn't up the player's oxygen, which I'll need to sort out. Just a quick look at that now. So I'm going to make it give the player full oxygen back, hopefully. Maybe it did do it and I just didn't notice. No, that didn't look to update it. Maybe if we set the value to 100 instead. Hi Sticks, how are you doing? Why is that not set updating my oxygen level? Have I got this event sheet included? I must have, because it's destroying it. Set oxygen level to 100. Destroy. And we're destroying that. I think it's something to do with this hierarchy that I set up that I couldn't get working earlier. I'm going to get rid of the children for now. And just see if that works, because I don't need them to move about and follow each other. I can manually position them. Yep, must be something with the hierarchy. I presume it was destroying the child or both of them before it had got round to setting the values. But yeah, this is where we're at, Sticks, at the moment. There's that collectible. We've got an octopus, a crab, the shark you've just seen go off the screen. Put like a red glow around all the enemies so you can tell they're enemies, just so they pop out of the background a bit. Green glow around the player. There's no collisions yet. You can pick up a pipe and pop it in the corresponding place where it needs to be, and then once we've done that, go back to the surface and set the pump going, and then that'll be your level over. The top of the game screen's got to be here, so there'll be nothing else above there. I just need to put some maybe sky background just on the edges, and then it'll be a case of making some levels. How's your game coming on?